About 78 million homes in America have a furry companion. Everybody loves them, we live with them, we care for them. They're part of the family. But how did they come to be man's best friend? Well, to find this out, I talked to some experts, and what I found was pretty interesting. This is man's best friend. Let's rewind 27,000 years ago to the first dog. This is a wolf. But what makes wolves different from dogs? To find out, I talked to renowned wolf expert Paula Warner from Wolfwood, who lives with wolves.
If you are a person, if you are a dolphin, if you are a monkey, if you're a wolf, you have to know how to communicate. You survive by communication. So wolves are excellent communicators. They're much better at it than dogs. They're much more subtle at it than dogs. One of the things that we've done is we physically alter dogs so that they cannot communicate as well. And they no longer live in social groups. They will, well, I'll get to this part later. But anyway, so we have changed them so that they cannot communicate as well. For example, I had a full-blooded wolf, and she lived with Cole, who's my dog, right? Well, she would give Cole a signal, and Cole should be able to respond by laying his ears forward or back, but they're down. Down ears is a domestic trait. So he couldn't signal in that way. He should be able to smile or snarl. Well, he couldn't because he has big jowls, right? So she'd give him a signal and he'd go, duh, and she'd give him another signal and he'd go, duh, you know, until finally she planted him. And so wolves are the most intelligent of all canines. And unless you're a big coyote fan, some people say coyotes are the most intelligent. But, and so one of the ways that we've changed them is wolves, and they've done these experiments with problem solving, for example. So if you put food in a box, for example, a wolf will solve that problem. They'll figure out how to get the food out of the box. The dog will look to the person to get the food out of the box for them, right? So they've lost some of their problem solving skills because, again, to be a good pet, to live with us in the manner that we want our pets to live with us, they can't be too independent thinking. Does that make sense? So, for example, if you have a good dog, you can put that good dog in almost any situation and he's going to be a good dog, right? But wolves aren't like that. Wolves change their behavior based on the situation. So they're going to act one way with me, they'll act one way with somebody else, they'll act one way if it's raining, they'll act one way if you know, they're not, they act one way in their pen, they act one way when they're out. So their behavior changes a lot. And so dogs have sort of lost that ability to be real independent thinkers, which is good if we want them as companion animals. It's bad if you need to survive and problem solve. So.
What about dogs? Let's talk to Marcy, the dog behavioral expert from La Plata County Humane Society. How is a dog's behavior different from a wolf?
What we're finding out over the last couple of years is dogs live in family packs just like we do. So there might be an uncle, there might be a distant aunt, but in general there's not the whole wolf hierarchy, that pyramid structure that we thought about for so long, that there was an alpha and the alpha ran the pack. It's mostly, instead, it's a family structure and they all help each other and they work together to eat and sleep and take care of each other and take care of the babies. So we're finding a lot lately about, and I'm sure you're aware of the fox study in Russia, where they bred really friendly foxes for years and years and years. And what they found was within a few generations, you pretty much create soft ears and soft tails and happy dogs by doing this with foxes. And all they did was breed the happiest dogs, or the foxes, the pups of them all. And it's the same thing we've done with dogs. As long as we're breeding the happy ones, then that's what we're getting. We're getting this young, this kind of like a childlike animal, this soft ears, soft body, happy friendliness.
What traits have wolves lost through domestication?
So wolves always have light green all the way to brown eyes, but never blue. So if you see something on TV that has blue eyes, or on your dog food bag that has blue eyes, and they tell you it's a wolf, they're lying, right? So they always have kind of light green to brown eyes, and they're always slanted. So wolves have that slant. Dogs' eyes tend to be rounder. If you have a shepherd, or a Malamute or a husky, or a northern dog, they can be slanted too. But wolves just have these golden slanted eyes. So Trinity has pretty wolfy eyes. Again, we talked about really long pointed noses. Dogs' noses tend to be a little bit more blunt. So I know she's not a full wolf because her nose is a little blunt right there in front. And when you look at the full wolves, you can see the difference. Their ears always stand up, never down. So again, if you see something with down ears, that's a domestic trait. With lots of fur, wolves have more fur inside of their ears than dogs do. And if you notice, they're kind of close to their heads. So again, everything about wolves is meant for cold weather. They hate to be hot. And so there's a lot of adaptations for that. If you have big ears, it's too much heat loss. So their ears are close to their heads for cold weather. They can turn them all the way around behind them so they can hear behind them better. And they can hear a mouse running underground. So their hearing's very acute. Wolves' teeth are very different than dogs. Wolves obviously are carnivores, and they're predators. They hunt their food. They can't go to Safeway and buy a chicken. So they have really long, curved canine teeth for prey grabbing. And so they're much more longer and more curved than dogs. And then they have little teeth for getting all the meat off the bone. And then in the back they have giant bone crunching teeth. So wolves have the third strongest jaws of all mammals.
From wolves to dogs, we have created man's best friend.